Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Wes Smith here from House of Restoration, where we're being a light in the midst of darkness, joined to Remnant House, home of the strong and courageous. And here on Witness of Yahuwah YouTube channel, y'all see the title. We'll be talking about the namesake, his namesake, Yahusha's namesake. And so there's many scriptures that you read over and over where it talks about his namesake. Like, for instance, if you read Psalm 31:3, look what it says. It said, "For you are my rock and my fortress. Therefore, for your name's sake," listen to this, "lead and guide me." Lead and guide me. And so for his name's sake, we have to remember that he said, do not do what? Take his name in vain. So whenever we're doing anything and we're supposed to be, I always pondered on this and asked, how do we take your name in vain, O Yahuwah, O Yahusha? How do we do that? And that's when you're supposed to be a representative of him, but you're polluting, right? You're how can I put it? You're profaning the lifestyle that you're supposed to be living by making him look bad. Because remember this, every time we go and do something outside of Yahusha's character, we're crucifying him afresh. Right. Meaning that we're causing his crucifixion to be done over and over in a form of fashion as if he never done it before. And so for his name's sake, we ask him to do what? Because he's our rock and our fortress, to lead and guide me. So if we're asking him to lead and guide us, then that means that we're setting ourselves apart from others. We're setting ourselves apart from the way that the rest of the world lives. Look what another scripture says. Psalm 25:11. And I ask that way, as this train get ready to go, and buckle up your seatbelt, because we're about to talk about the namesake of Yah. So look what it says right here. Psalm 25:11. It said, "For your name's sake, O Yahuwah," look at this, "pardon my iniquity, for it is great." You see that? Pardon my iniquity, for it is great. Now, what did he do so that our iniquities could be pardoned? Right? Yeah. Because if you look at Isaiah chapter 53 and just start reading with me here. "Who has believed our report, and to whom is the arm of Yahuwah revealed? For he shall grow up before us as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He has no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him." Remember, he came unto his own, and they received him not. Right? He came to be that Messiah, that man of Yah that came to be that light and example, and yet they denied him, right? But look what it says. "He is despised and rejected with grief, and we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Elohim," and listen to this now, afflicted. He was afflicted. Yahusha, that's who it's talking about. He was afflicted, but he was wounded for what? Our transgressions. But what do we just ask him in Psalm 25:11? "For your name's sake, pardon my iniquity." So in order for that iniquity to have been pardoned, he sent his son, because no other man could have done this. Elijah was a great prophet, but guess what? In the midst of his affliction, what did he do? He went and hid in the cave. And it took Yah to send encouraging word to him. Now, the awesome thing about it is, I want to break something down to you that Yahushua HaMashiach himself even showed where he was afflicted. Where? When he said that his friend would betray him, he said his spirit was troubled. His spirit was troubled. He prayed 3 times and asked that the Father remove that cup from his hand. Right? But he said, "Not my will," right? "But your will be done." Now, we often forget this in a written will and testament. Emmanuel. I know, but keep praising Yah, buddy. Go ahead. But in a written will and testament, there are certain agreements at times that has to be fulfilled in order for you to receive what? The inheritance left behind with it. And so what does he tell us to do? Love, right? Yeah. Love your enemy. He tell you to love your neighbor. But he also tell you that if you love me, what? Guard my commandment and do them. And so as you do these things, right, and the Father sees it, now you're a part of his will. And guess what? Whatever's written in that testament or that covenant, you receive that. What happened with the old ancient children of YAHUSHA? They broke that covenant. So he wrote them a bill of divorcement. But he sent his son, right? That for his name's sake, that would be renewed. So look at this. He said, surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Elohim, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgression, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him. Do you see that? And with his stripes we are healed. So now listen to this. Just as Messiah went through, as he was afflicted, guess what? We're gonna suffer many things for his name's sake. Hallelujah. Right? So don't get in these different establishments and different places and think soon as you give your life and you begin to be reborn that everything's supposed to just be peaches and cream. It's not. Let's look what prophesied back in Isaiah chapter 48, verses 10 through 11. Look what it said. Behold, I have refined you. He have already refined you. He's molding you. He's shaping you. So refine me. He have purged you. He have cleaned you. But look what else happens right here. Look what else happens. Now, go back up to verse 9. Let's start from there. For my name's sake will I defer my anger. He's going to change it. His anger will be moved. And for my praise will I refrain for you that I cut you not off. You see that? But what happened in order for us to be redeemed? It took what we just read in Isaiah chapter 53. It took what we just read in Isaiah chapter 53. Look what verse says. Behold, I have refined you, I have purged you, but not with silver. I have chosen you in the furnace of what? Affliction. Pay attention to that now, because don't think in order for you to mature in the spirit, that fire is gonna have to constantly be turned up around you, and you're gonna constantly have to be beaten and banged. Hallelujah. Huh? What did Paul say? Beat, bang. That's right. Or what? Put in the fire, bang. Put in the fire, bang. And in order for you to be properly shaped and molded, this is what he says, you have to go through the furnace of affliction. But listen to this. For my own sake, even for my own sake, will I do it. For how should my name be polluted? Do you hear that? And so that's why when we are walking in his name and we going through, instead of murmuring and disputing, see, all my messages tie together one way or the other. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of whether you're going through, you have to give thanks, because this is the what? Will of Yah concerning you in Christ, or Mashiach, Yahusha. And so if you're in his will, right? Because remember, the will is a written will. A covenant that was written, that was placed on your heart, that you would keep. So look what he said. He said, for my own sake will I do it. For how should my name be polluted? And I will not give my glory unto another. I will not give my glory unto another. So now as we go into the scripture and the renewed covenant, we see everywhere where YAHUSHA talk about we will go through things for what? His name's sake. Right? So let's look at Luke real quick. Luke 9:23. Look what it says. It said, and he said unto them, if any man will come after me, listen to this now. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself. Now this is the part I want everybody to pay attention to. And take up his cross how many days? Daily. Not just one day. Not just when you feel like it. Daily. It said take up your cross daily and follow me. How many times? When are we supposed to examine ourselves? Daily. What now? Okay, Yahusha haven't even went to the cross yet. He's already talking about bearing a cross. What is he talking about? What is he talking about your suffering? He's talking about your affliction. He said, take these things head on. Stop trying to find little ways out of it. Huh? If you on that job and you being afflicted, sometimes we don't realize how spiritual warfare gonna come at us. When it comes, you have to be ready. How is that? You stay prayed up. You stay in your word. Huh? Get out of all that extra stuff that you're doing. If it's extracurricular stuff, sometimes you have to stop and allow yourself to be in oneness with Yah, because so many times the cares of the world try to overtake you. And Yahusha told us not to let the cares of the world overtake us. Let not our heart be troubled. He told us don't allow ourselves to be taken by the cares of this world. That when affliction comes, the first thing we do is fall to the wayside. We have to be the one. We have to be kingdom builders. Kingdom builders. We're establishing to help build the kingdom. Not find ourselves always crying and moaning. That's what the first generation did. That came out of Mitzrayim. They cried and they complained, they moaned until they didn't even get a chance to see the promised land. I want to be able to see my Creator's face. Through why? Through how? Through obedience. Through a pure heart. It said that Yahusha was obedient unto the cross, even unto death. Even unto death. So when he say, for my name's sake, you shall if you're gonna come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and do what? Follow me. Follow me. But how are you gonna follow him if you can't do as he did? Because you're so caught up in your own, because you can't deny yourself. We have to be willing to deny ourselves. He said, look, another witness in Matthew. Mark 8:34, real quick. Mark 8:34. And when he had called the people unto him with his talmudim, also he said unto them, whosoever will come after me, let him deny himself. Here we go again. Let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. So now, for his name's sake, we have to do what? Deny ourselves. We have to deny ourselves. You may say, well, how do I deny myself? It may be that you ride down the road, you might see a person that need that car is messed up. Even though you may be rushing to get somewhere, sometimes you have to deny yourself for the sake of others. Huh? Your brother or sister may be going through something, and you might be going through something. But for his name's sake, you have to deny yourself to be able to lift them up. Well, how can I do that if I need lifting up? He said, because through your weaknesses, his strength is made perfect. Hallelujah. And then we always say this, for the joy of Adonai is our strength. Well, the joy of Adonai is our strength. Reach into some of that joy so that you can help somebody else. Stop away. We always focus on our own and not focus on helping others. Look what Matthew 16:24 say. Matthew 16:24. Then said Yahusha unto his talmudim, if any man come after me, let him deny himself. Now, is this account happening in 3 different areas of renewed covenant? Just because? No. These are witnesses, eyewitnesses, that was right there when he said these things. Eyewitnesses that are recording this. And he said, let them deny themselves, take up his cross and follow me. Like I said, that cross is that suffering. That's that affliction that he was talking about, that furnace of affliction that you would go through in order to be refined, put in the fire, bang. You have to be willing to suffer just a little bit. Oh, are you going to suffer financially? Yeah. Because if he wanted you to have a good amount of money, guess what? He could drop it in your lap whenever he get ready. See, we think prosperity is supposed to be a way of living where we got all the nice cars and nice houses and jewelry and nice clothing and all the finest foods and all that. No, when Yahusha was prosperous. Why? Because even though the Son of Man had nowhere to lay his head, guess what? Somewhere that night he had somewhere to lay his head. Huh? Wherever he was led by the Spirit, and through that prosperity of peace. Prosperity is a peaceful mind, a peaceful atmosphere, not allowing stress to overtake you because, oh my goodness, how am I gonna cover this? Oh my goodness, because you trust in Yah to be your provider. You trust in Yah to have that ram in the bush. You trust him. And when you totally trust him, it don't matter what it is. See, when we begin to focus more on money, we think that we believe in trusting in God, but we're trusting more in mammon than we are. So don't let the prosperity that the Western culture try to help you believe we're supposed to have, because he said that you will suffer for my name's sake. But guess what? Like I said, Yahusha was prosperous. And so that's why we have to be careful, because it's the little foxes that ruin the vine. The little foxes. And so when you have those different standards and teachings that's coming forth that try to tell us that we have to have these luxurious buildings to be in to worship and serve Yah, that was just created by Hasatan so that he can draw the people away from Yah. Man, look at some of these videos where people in the rainforest that worship Yah, and I don't mean the rainforest exactly, but like in Brazil and different places that don't have a nice air conditioned houses. Their worship is more pure than those that have the luxury, because guess what? At the end of the day, when they leave out of those buildings, they're not denying themselves. They're not denying themselves. Why? Because they're going out to eat. They're going to fill themselves up, become gluttonous, and doing and then talking about how the people in the church. Versus those that don't have no air conditioning in their little huts or whatever you call them out there in the Congo and different places where they got to hide and worship because they're actually suffering for the namesake of Yahusha. Huh? Gotta have gatherings and little just like we did back in the book of Acts. Had little gatherings where we had to move from spot to spot. Couldn't stay in one place. Man, it's so real, but yet they have turned what scripture talks about into a fairy tale, a fantasy, a way of living, when that isn't the way that we're supposed to live. We're supposed to live according to the way that Yahusha told us, and he said that we would find trouble for his name's sake. And instead of we will be hated of the world, not loved of the world. Huh? What did he say? Let me show y'all something else here. Because when Paul, we're gonna talk about him real quick, because when he was riding to Damascus, right? And he went through his whole little ordeal, and Yahusha said, Ananias, go pray over Paul. And listen, what did Ananias have to do in order to go pray over Paul? In order to be in the Father's will, he had to deny himself. Why? Because at the time, Paul was the one causing suffering to Yah's people. But now, look what Yahuwah or Yahusha said to Ananias. In Acts chapter 9, verse 16, for I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake. And a lot of times we were the ones persecuting Yah's people. Why? Because when they came and preached the gospel to us, we kicked them out of our face. We told them, I don't want to hear that mess. We told them, you cuckoo, you don't lost your mind. And we forget that at times, guess what persecution also is? It's a mental, it's causing mental stress to others. when you attack and abuse, you can abuse people without your fist. So don't think persecution is just in the form of a natural attack. Persecution is also in the form of a mental attack. Tribulation, same thing, in the form of a mental attack. So we have to watch for those things. We have to be careful. Look what YAHUSHA say in John, St. John, chapter 15, verses 20 and 21. Start from verse 19. St. John chapter 15, verse 19. It said, if ye were of the world would love what? His own. The world will love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. So stop thinking that you're supposed to be loved of everyone. You're not supposed to be loved of everyone, but you're supposed to love everyone. You're not going to be loved of everyone, but you're supposed to love everyone. Why? Because for his name's sake, the world shall hate you. You see that? He said, remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his master. Who is the master? YAHUSHA. Adonai. He's the master. So he said, the servant is not greater than his master. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. Listen to that now. So if they are trying to attack me, they're going to attack you. If they have spitted on me, they're going to spit on you. If they talked about me, they're going to talk about you. If they ridicule me, then they're going to ridicule you. So he just broke it down in the simple terms and said, if they persecute me, then they also will persecute you. Listen though, if they have guarded my word, they will guard yours also. What is he talking about right now? He's talking about that sound doctrine. Because remember, in Acts chapter 2 and 4:2, it said that they continue in the doctrine of the apostles. What doctrine was the apostles teaching from? It was from the word of Yah. It was his word. Remember, he prayed that with the word that I have given unto them, that others hear their word, that when they believe, right, they become saved through that word. And there's so many people that come along here on our YouTube channels and different gatherings and different places that are just spectators. They're in it to troll, they're in it to attack, they're in it to persecute. Then you have those that come that are part of the remnant that is truly looking for some sound doctrine. And so therefore, you ain't gonna have hundreds and millions of different people there to be a part of the true thing. Because half the time they looking for what? Loaves and fishes. They looking for what they can get. That's what they did with YAHUSHA. Because how many people did he break down in that gathering where he broke them down in the 50s? It was almost 5,000 people. One another said it was 4,000 people. But how many was with him in the end? How many was with him in the end? Even when they was up in the before they went up into the upper room, they said that it was over what, 500, and then it was only 200. Huh? How many? 120. So where did everybody go? It's always gonna be a few, right? It's always gonna be a few. Look what verse 21 said though. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake, because they know not him that sent me. They don't know Yahuwah themselves. And so for his name's sake, guess what? His name's sake ain't gonna be polluted. He said that already. He told us that as he puts you through that furnace of affliction, are you gonna be like the seed, that was cast to the side and then soon and then received his word with joy, but soon as tribulation came, you fell off? What? You fell away because of tribulation? Because you wasn't willing to go through just a little bit? Do you know how many times I say, you know what? I ain't doing no message this week. Listen, I'm working 6 days. I'm on my 50th hour. And still got another day to go. And because if y'all recognize this, I don't actually start recording on Shabbat. I had to get these recordings out so that by Shabbat I can have them there for y'all. Because why? Because even though I can't record on Shabbat like I want to, because just ain't enough time in the day to get it done like I want to, I have to be obedient to his word and still pass his message. And I still have a day to go. And so therefore, when I get done, I'll be at 63 hours, but I still have to bring forth what he has given me. Because I'm in disobedience if I just say, I'm not going to do that. That's denying yourself. I'm taking up my cross. My wife suffered affliction through her cancer. But guess what? She's bearing her cross. And she wasn't there to bear it alone. Me and my son helped bear that cross with her. We comfort her the best that we can. But guess what? In the long run, by her denying herself and not going in crying and complaining about what she was going through, the doctors saw her light. The nurses saw her light. And this began to become a change for her. Even one of the doctors said, what is it that you do that keeps you your energy so positive? And she said, I trust in my Yah. And he said, well, you need to go to some of these support groups and teach these people about Yah. Because he said I haven't had a patient like you. You don't complain, you don't cry, I don't get no calls. That's her light. That's her denying herself. Do you realize that what a person goes through with cancer is really, really horrendous on their body? The things that these treatments that these doctors give them are horrendous. Not being able to do a lot on your own because the chemotherapy got you bedridden. Radiation got you constantly tired. But every time your body aching, instead of you crying and complaining, you call on the name of Yah. Do you realize that just like Job, she will be afflicted in the furnace of affliction? Being refined, and all this is doing is making her stronger. She will put in the fire, bang, put in the fire, bang, and all it's doing is strengthening her and making her sharper. Making her sharper. And in the process, it helped me because I still had to, she can't drive. I had to get up and take her to the radiation 4 weeks every day and still went to work every day. Was I tired? Yeah. But whatever by any means, like I said, I had to deny myself. We have to deny ourselves. Look at that. Let's look at cause he remember he said only few find a way, right? So if you look at Matthew chapter 7 verse 14, look what it said, because narrow is the gate and troublesome. Listen to that now. Troublesome is the way which leads to life. And few there be that find it. You see that? Few there be that find it. We had to be careful. Why? Because what is that straight and narrow path that he's trying to lead us on? Is it called the path of righteousness? Remember what we read in Psalm chapter 23? Psalm chapter 23, verse 3. He restores my soul. He leads me in the cycles of righteousness for his name's sake. For his name's sake, or down the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. How are you willing to live for his name's sake? Are you willing to die for his name's sake? Because either way it goes, guess what? We have to be able to do what? Endure until the end. Meaning that we have to be able to do what, love? We have to be able to go through it. We have to be able to be patient. Remember what it said? Love is patient. Love is kind. Right? Let's look at Matthew. Matthew chapter 24. Matthew chapter 24, verse 13. Look what he's saying. Here we go with different accounts again on this and by his disciples and apostles. Look what it said. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. You see that? He that endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Let's look at another one. Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10, verse 22. Look what he says. He said, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endures unto the end shall be saved. Do you see that? He that endures unto the end shall be saved, but you shall be what? Hated of all men for his name's sake. Because you representing the Most High. You shall be hated for his name's sake. You see that? Right? For his name's sake. Here go another one. Let's read another one. Mark chapter 13. Mark chapter 13, verse 13. Look what it says. It said, and ye shall be hated of all men. Once again, and ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. You see that? He that endures unto the end, that endures unto the end shall be saved. We have to be willing to go through. We have to be willing to deny ourselves. We have to recognize that that cross is our suffering. That cross is that furnace of affliction. And if the Messiah surely was obedient unto his cross and obedient unto death, then we must be willing to suffer a little for his name's sake, right? We must be willing to go through that affliction so that we can grow. Remember Jeremiah? He went through, didn't he? All the prophets, if you read back then, they went through. What you think they said about Isaiah when he was walking around butt bookie naked for 3 years? Look at that cuckoo. He crazy. Do you hear that? He talking about different things that's supposed to happen and all the way in the remote time. What you think they had to say about Enoch? Huh? What you think they had to say about Amos? They attacked Amos just because and get what Amos told him. He said, look, man, I wasn't a prophet. I was a herdman and a farmer. I was taking care of peach orchards and apples and summer fruits and different things. And there was nobody to speak y'all's word, so he called me because everybody else was doing their own thing because they didn't want to suffer for him. They didn't want to go through. Every one of the people of y'all went through something. What you think? Talk about Daniel. That's like my man right there. Now I like reading Daniel. Because that man went through some things. Just because he was keeping the Torah, he got thrown in the line then for doing the right thing. Now you tell me that ain't for the namesake of Yah. They said, listen, we can't find fault in him. So let's use the Torah against him. The Torah is Yah's word. And we are to keep his word, right? Through his name's sake, the world shall hate us because of his word, right? Daniel went through. Did not Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego go through? Because they were keeping what? Torah. You shall not have no other gods before me. Nebuchadnezzar said, bow to that thing. They said no. And even if y'all don't say, well, we still won't bow to it. Okay, you're going to go through the furnace. Huh? What was that? The furnace of affliction.
I don't understand.
They went through. So, regardless of whatever the situation is, we have to go through. We have to be willing to suffer. We have to be willing to. Because if you're not willing to endure these things, if you're not willing, guess what? How can he trust you? How can he use you if you're not willing to go through? If every time something arises and you just quit. Now, there will be times where you have went through the thing and you've done it and you put a smile on your face and you say, okay, now it's time to move my child because I have the next step for him. I have the next area of whatever affliction that he has to go through. Now, a lot of times, guess what? In order for you to go through to receive a blessing, you're gonna have to go through affliction. Why is that? Because in order for them to get into the promised land, before they fully conquered the land, they had to do what? They had to fight the people of the land that were giants. That was, but guess what? The land was what? A blessing because it was flowing with milk and honey. So don't think just because you guess what? Before David became king, he still had to prove himself. He was anointed king, but before he became king, he had to prove himself. Saul tried to attack him over and over again, tried to kill him, but he did what? He kept Torah. He did not touch Yah's anointed, right? And so just like those people, we have to be willing, as is written in 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12. Look what it said. If we suffer with him, we shall live with him. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. But look what it said. But if we deny him, he will also deny us. If we believe not, yet he abides faithful, he cannot deny himself. He cannot deny himself, but guess what? If we deny him, he could deny us. If we deny him, he could deny us. And look what it said. But if we suffer, we shall also live with him. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll read it, verse 11 and 12 mixed up. Okay, so let's read verse 11. It is faithful saying, for if we be dead with him, we shall also live with him. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. So if we suffer, for what? For his name's sake. If we suffer, we shall reign with him. And a lot of times, this scripture is not even brought up to babes that are just coming in. They think that through the prosperity gospel and all these different other teachings, that they're just supposed to be well off soon as they get their life, and that's not the case. You have to, in order to grow, you have to be placed in that fire of affliction so that you can be properly refined. I mean, so we gonna suffer many things for his name's sake. Remember, if the world hated him, then they will hate you also. So we had to keep this in mind as we do this walk, that Yah take care of his own. It may seem like he's not, and others may come up against you, like Job's friends came and they were like, you must have did something wrong. You must have did it, but no, Yah isn't punishing you. He isn't punishing you. A lot of times people think that they're being punished. Now is this case where curses will follow people because they're not in covenant. But when you make that covenant with Yah, he said that his blessings follow you. But don't think that you're just supposed to have deep pockets with a lot of money and that everything just supposed to be hunky-dory. You're going to have to go through. And a lot of times it's going to be mental stress. There's going to be physical stress. There's going to be spiritual stress. But you have to know how to combat these things. All right? So I just want to say that if you haven't given your life to YAHUSHA Mashiach, give your life to him today. This is the most important. We ask him for his name's sake to pardon our iniquity, and through him coming down and being bruised and beaten for our iniquities, though he did buy us with a price. He did buy our body, and so we become that living sacrifice. So that's why we deny ourselves. So if you ever give your life to him, give it to him today. This is the most important. And as we get ready to come to the close and the train is coming to the station, I ask that you give a praise offering. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Glory be to Yah. Thank you, Yahusha Mashiach. Thank you. And just remember to help share, get these messages out there. And don't forget that I love you, Yahuwah loves you. Don't forget to say, thank you, Yahusha. Talk to you soon.
Torah, Amet. Torah, Amet. Tudaya.
This is a Cinema Beats production.
Now I can sit here and pray about things I really don't